How do you decipher the feelings growing inside your heart? What if you could find the perfect flower that represents your relationship with the most important person in your life? What sort of love story do you think would result if you allowed that flower to bloom? Hanaki, did you know that our souls are connected by fate? Well, what do you know? I'm Yuno Hanaki, the one and only Oiran. I am a VTuber who has a love for all things otome, and I've been really excited to start covering more of them on my channel, while also getting more into video essays. Today we're going to be discussing the somewhat recent release of Him, the Smile, and Bloom, otherwise known as HanaKare. This is a game produced by Mint Lips and localized by PCube International. Thanks to keymailer, I was able to receive a copy of the game to play and review. HanaKare focuses on the flower shop Philflower and the love lives of the 4 male workers. Each love interest has their own heroine, so the game has 4 different love stories you can experience. There are 3 endings you can potentially obtain for each character: the glow end, the bloom end, and the wither end. Each route is 15 chapters long, plus an epilogue and a bonus special episode after you obtain the bloom ending for each guy. I know that sounds like a lot, but I was actually pleasantly surprised that the story went by fast. Some chapters were only around 5 minutes long, and several didn't have any choices attached to them, so the experience felt more like a quick read. For this review, however, I ended up not having as much time as I'd initially anticipated to play the game, so I will be focusing on the first route I played, Hokuto Ichige. When it comes to my review, I will only be able to fully discuss and showcase content from chapters 1 through 8 of the game. I did complete both the bloom and glow endings for Hokuto, but talking too much about those would be spoilers. If you're at all interested, I encourage you to check out the game for yourself, as it's available both on Steam and the Nintendo Switch. All that being said, let's begin the discussion. An oblivious and timid man, and a woman with an unyielding will. The tale of 2 people united in their feelings, finally connecting as one. Hokuto Ichige, 27 years old and the recently promoted manager of the Philflower shop. Known for being kind and dependable as a leader, respected by all of his coworkers, he's also got a one-track mind when it comes to one specific person. That person is the heroine, Fuka Hariyoshi, a 23-year-old office worker at a trading company and Hokuto's childhood friend. Fuka met Hokuto when her family moved next door to his family 20 years ago. They've been close ever since, with many other people in the neighborhood calling them close like siblings. They both know each other incredibly well, and spend a good amount of their time together. Early on, you get a clear idea of how Fuka sees herself in comparison to Hokuto, who she refers to as Hoku-chan, localized as simply Hoku. She feels small and childish compared to him, and to her credit, Hokuto often talks down to her as if she's a child that needs reminding of even obvious things. He worries about her constantly, often urging her to keep herself safe and watch out for danger. He also has a tendency to repeat the fact she's like a little sister to him over and over, much to her chagrin. You see, she's had feelings for him for quite a long time, and at one point she even confessed to him during junior high while the 2 watched fireworks together. But he didn't respond, instead saying he loved her like a brother would and immediately acting like nothing was different. Despite this, Fuka has never once given up on her feelings for him, and stubbornly stays by his side as much as possible. I think one of the most important aspects of their dynamic is this tendency Hokuto has to remind her of where they stand. He's the one to bring up how they're childhood friends, how they're close, like siblings. And while Fuka grudgingly accepts that this is how things are, she's never the one to make those observations first. This clearly illustrates how she doesn't see it that way, and makes us wonder if Hokuto still remembers her previous confession or not. This is quite the source of conflict, as Fuka is soon selected to go on a business trip to New York for a month with a male coworker, Shimizu. Her other coworker encourages her to use this opportunity to forget about her love life for a while, and Fuka wonders when she should tell Hokuto about the trip, as this will be the longest stretch of time they've ever been physically far apart since becoming friends. The time never arises, though. She finds reasons to avoid telling him, and the date comes closer and closer. Eventually, she encounters him on a day off she's taking to focus on shopping for her essentials, and he reveals that he heard about her trip from someone else, another worker at Philflower. He's mostly upset that she never told him when it was happening, and the concern builds while they argue about whether or not she'll be safe over there, until she gets fed up with him treating her like a child. She confesses to him again, in the heat of the moment, and it's something he tries to back off from. This makes her try to run away, but Hokuto grabs her to keep her from leaving, and then forcibly kisses her. heartbreaking, especially when they break apart and he reveals that he didn't intend to do it and doesn't know why he did it in the first place. Fuka feels even more like he just doesn't get what she's trying to say. Or is maybe trying to act like he doesn't so they can avoid having a conversation. Now, granted, the entire story is told from Fuka's first-person POV, so we will of course have most of our sympathy aimed at her because we only see things from her side. We know how much she has agonized over still loving Hokuto as a man, even when he sees her as a childhood friend or sister, so we know why the weight of this moment hurts her. However, as someone who is something of an Osananajimi lover myself, I fully interpreted this kiss to be Hokuto's own romantic feelings building into a fever pitch, one he can no longer contain in his desire to keep Fuka close to him. Another repeated statement Hokuto often tells Fuka is that he doesn't want her to disappear. He once mentions being ready for that eventual outcome should she ever find a boyfriend, but that it would still devastate him. Fuka, meanwhile, is hurt by the idea of ever leaving Hokuto's side even if they did find love in other people. In her mind, a world without Hokuto in it just isn't possible, so him writing her out of his life baffles her. She comes to realize that even if they never pursue a romantic relationship, her feelings for him will never change, and she still wants to be by his side the way they are now. Hokuto really is torn up by the idea of being apart from her, though. Most of his sprites in the game are calm or smiling, but whenever he gets concerned for Fuka or fights with her, his expression darkens so drastically I actually laughed a little at first, because it looked like he developed eye bags and aged 20 years. This is a positive, mind you. The art style is great and super expressive. While we don't see Fuka much during regular scenes, her expressiveness in CGs is top-notch. You can really see her childish nature come through in her wide smiles and her dramatic pouts, while Hokuto looks over her with so much warmth and kindness. You can't help but want to cheer for these two oblivious kiddos. When it comes to childhood friend routes, many people often argue a childhood friend is doomed to fail. This can be for any number of reasons. The relationship being too close to that of siblings, the best friend not being bold enough, or just taking themselves out of the running before they get a chance to even try, or the narrative always painting them as the one meant to lose in their efforts to support the main character and the other intended love interest. I know whenever I have cheered for friends to lovers, and especially childhood friends to lovers, people tend to make fun of me for supporting characters that will never win. I find so much value in relationships like these, though. While I don't support it in every instance, the thing I find most romantic about these dynamics is knowing someone so intrinsically well that they're perfectly in sync. Who better to love you than one of the closest people in your life aside from family? Lovers often become family as things progress anyway. Hokuto and Fuka have a dynamic full of blurring lines and a desire to draw a clear, distinctive one in the sand. But where is that line supposed to go when your emotions are so overwhelming? Fuka knows her love for Hokuto goes beyond friendship. Where does Hokuto truly stand? It's that sort of messiness that really piques my interest. While it seems a lot of this route thrives off of their struggles communicating, alongside the secrets they're slowly realizing they've been keeping from themselves, I really want to cheer for these two to resolve their issues and continue to love each other deeply and earnestly, without any hesitation or misunderstanding of boundaries. I suppose now is the best time to talk about their representative flower, the Anemone.
Okay, don't hurt yourself.
The anemone is present throughout their route, both literally and metaphorically. When they first met as children all those years ago, Fuka was so shy and uncomfortable and wasn't speaking to Hokuto at all. When he realized this, the young boy rushed to the back garden and grabbed some of their own anemone flowers, handing them to Fuka as a token of friendship. She instantly lit up and became extremely happy, and that's how they became friends. According to the in-game flower book, a rolling index of the different flowers mentioned throughout the game and their symbolism in Hanakotoba, there are two important meanings to understand. The first is for the red anemone, which simply means I love you. Fuka is seen holding this flower in her key visual, which suits her direct and straightforward understanding of her love for Hokuto, no matter what he's like. Hokuto, meanwhile, is holding the purple anemone. This color means I believe in you and will wait. For childhood friends that desire to become lovers someday, I believe a key thing to keep in mind is that faith you already have in that person. This is one of the most important people in your life. I think you should believe in them and have patience. These things take time, and there can be value in waiting for the other person in your life to be ready to finally take that next step, to finally look directly at the lines between you and see them clearly. While I was playing Hokuto's route, I found myself thinking a lot about another Osananajimi character that struggled with the same complex. Toma from Amnesia. Don't look at me like that, hear me out! Hokuto isn't anywhere as extreme as Toma gets, but they both have that same concern with wanting to prioritize their dynamic with the heroine as a sibling, and not making room for anything else. It's a common trope with childhood friend routes, at least enough that I have 2 nickels now.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Toma goes a few steps further than Hokuto seems to, though. Toma is the type to want to become a background character entirely, and he also encourages the heroine to stop spending as much time with him and to spend more time with their other childhood friend Shin. Shin, interestingly enough, is similar to Fuka. They're both the younger childhood friend in their respective dynamics, and Shin spends much of his route wanting the heroine to see him as a man, and not as just a childhood friend anymore. I remember loving Amnesia's childhood friend portrayals, as I could really feel the love between all 3 of them, whether I was on Shin's route or Toma's. They both care deeply for the heroine, and also for each other, and that's the sort of bond you can really only get with people you've grown up with in such a way. When I see Hokuto and Fuka together, I get that feeling that even if things didn't work out between them, despite me desperately wanting them to, I think they would still have the capacity to love each other no matter what. I think people underestimate the love that friends can have, even if they take the risk of becoming lovers. People get too scared of ruining the friendship, but a real friendship can weather a number of storms and shift with the tides. Of course, it won't look like how it did before you dated, but being human is to have your relationships grow and shift with you over time. People can grow together, and even if their romantic paths diverge, I think it's important to still value that friendship and work towards one that can keep both of you fulfilled. This obviously can't happen in every case, but maybe that's just the idealist in me. In conclusion, I think Hokuto's route is really emblematic of childhood friends who have to make the choice to communicate their feelings clearly and earnestly in order to grow together. I won't spoil what happens in the latter half of the route, as I really think you should pick up HanaKare for yourself, but I really feel for Fuka and Hokuto. I want them to be happy, and for them to be patient at the same time. After all, if you believe in each other, you can wait just a little bit longer. Well, what did you think? Did you enjoy this? Would you like to see me cover more routes from HanaKare, or maybe a route from your favorite otome? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to give the video a like, and if you want, you should absolutely check out my streams if you get the chance. We talk about this kind of story analysis and more about all kinds of games and media, so I'd love to see you around so you can join the conversation. Thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me. I hope you have a good rest of your time zone, and until I see you again, Yunotsu!